welcome to the inaugural episode of Name of Pod. I am your host, Andrea Lee, and before we get started, let me just tell you a little bit about us. You can be prepared for a wide range of topics, a lot of silly banter, some salty language, and frequent digressions. We are politically liberal, so if you choose to hold that against us, that's fine. But we're really just complete nerds who like to have a good conversation, a good time, and laugh. We like to laugh a lot. So, with the expectations set, let's get started. For our first episode, we are talking about Twitter. Because for all of the ills of the platform, it actually does still have some redeeming qualities. Like giving me the opportunity to meet my co-hosts. So, say hello, guys.
Hey, I'm Robert. I'm the rare Texas liberal that lives in the north part of Texas. Just celebrated my first year of widowhood, and I'm single.
And he paints his fingernails, ladies. He's got a
I
lovely manicure.
Yes.
And hi, my name is Jermey. I live in Oregon State, also liberal. I am gay and I am a mechanic. So you can go ahead and make your judgments on me and Robert all you want, because we're not going to fit that mold.
That's right.
No, that's true.
That's right. And this is why these guys are my friends. So, guys, as I said in my little introduction there, for good or ill, we did meet through Twitter. And we probably wouldn't have known each other at all because Robert is in Texas and, Jeremy's in Oregon. I'm from the Northeast. I currently live in Georgia. So, we're all over the place. The chance of us actually having met anywhere outside of social media is it's pretty slim to none, right? So and we'll get to how we actually did meet in a minute, but I first want to bring up how we all got on Twitter to begin with. And for me, it was, I originally just joined to observe and follow, some celebrities and, news outlets and things that I like. But once the Dobbs decision came down, I had some things to say that I, didn't really want to say on other platforms like Facebook or whatever. So I got pretty active, kind of politically on Twitter as a liberal. But it did lead to us meeting. So what about you guys? Why did Robert, you go first? Why did you get on Twitter in the first place, and what made you the most active on the platform?
I was lonely. I was always kind of a loner anyway. And when my wife died, we'd been married 31 years. She passed away on January 31st of last year.
Yeah.
And I dabbled in social media. I was big on Reddit, and I checked Facebook occasionally. And I've been on Twitter for about 3 years, but I'd never really been active. And all of a sudden, I discovered that if you really want to interact with people, Twitter is the place to be. Because number one, you can find people who are like-minded and think the same way you do. And as I said, I'm very liberal, and there aren't many of us around here in North Texas. And so I joined just because I was so interested in interacting with others. Anyway, I've turned out to be quite the attention whore, and Twitter has been a good place for me.
Well, that's it makes sense because, like you were saying, it is a really good place to interact. It really is, and even for myself politically. And then Jer, I like your story about why you got on Twitter. Why don't you share that with everybody?
Oh, you mean when I saw there was a contest from T-Shirt Hell?
Yes.
That one? Oh, okay. Yeah. T-Shirt Hell was doing a promotion kind of thing that if you retweeted this tweet, you get into a chance to win a year's worth of, well, like one a month, I believe is what it was, for a year of free T-shirts from them. And I don't know if you've ever checked out T-Shirt Hell, but I loved them. And so So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll sign up to Twitter. I signed up. Of course, it did not win. And then I abandoned it for years. What brought me back was Twitter, excuse me, Facebook, going back 4 or 5, 10 years ago. And you're banned for 30 days for something you did so long ago that you don't even remember doing it. And I'm like, oh. So I started dabbling into Twitter again.
Yeah.
Or for once, I should say.
Yeah. No, I love that. Started off with the t-shirt contest and ended up with lots of friends.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about spaces and stuff, since that's how we first met. So
We need to explain what Spaces is for those who don't know.
Spaces. Okay, good point. So Spaces, and that is how I discovered it. For those who don't know, Spaces is where, and thank you, Robert. Spaces is where, you can just go chat. So basically, people have these forums where, if you're on your home screen, you look up at the top and you can see that people are talking, and you can go in and join, and the hosts of said conversation can choose whether or not to allow other people to speak. And some of them are treated a little like podcasts, and so that's why I got interested in it in the first place.
It's kind of like meeting a bunch of people at a pub and sitting down and just talking.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the kind of the metaphor we've brought up a bunch of times, which is it's exactly what it's like. It's like walking into the bar and just sitting down and ending up having a conversation with some people.
Yeah.
For good or ill. That's the basic.
And sometimes the bouncer has to throw one of you out.
Yes, which is also true. This is why this metaphor works. Exactly. So I was exploring it, and a couple of folks that had followed me were having one night, and I popped in, and so we ended up having this little group, and we would talk maybe a couple times a week, and it was fun. It was like a little, like meeting your friends at the pub, right? And then one night I was actually hosting one, and this is how I first met Jermey. And so that's where I kind of want to branch into, because I know you guys had kind of met that way also. So one night Jermey just popped in to a space that I'd hosted, and he was like, "What are we talking about?" And I'm like, "Whatever." And so we just started talking. And
the topic was Tuesday night tacos and weirdos or something like
that.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. You're like, "So what is it?" And I'm like, "It's Taco Tuesday. Hi, friend. What's up?"
Right.
So Jer, how did you get into spaces, and how did you and Robert meet? Because that's how you introduced me to Robert. So that's kind of where this is all going.
Okay, the very first time I ever did a spaces, this guy dipped into my DMs and started talking to me. And I'm like, and he's all, "Hey, let's go to spaces." And I'm like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
And so he tells me what it is. And so I'm like, okay, so we go up there. He started a spaces. And so I go in there, and so we're talking, and he seems like a really cool guy. He's like from Africa, and everything's going great. We're talking for like 20 minutes. And then at the end of the call, I'm like, "Well, it's been nice talking to you, but I need to go." And he goes, "Oh, wait. Before you go, I got one thing to ask you." And I'm like, "Man, if you say anything about asking for money or a place to stay, well, I just need a place to crash for a while." I'm like, "Yeah, and you're blocked, buddy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was my introduction to spaces, and it's what pointed me to its existence. And so I'm like, okay, well, what else is there? And so I believe Roberts was the first one that I had clicked on, and I don't recall what at all his title was for that day, but I just went in and I was just listening for a while, and eventually I requested to speak, and that was well, I don't know if we should bring up your favorite person or not, but that's where I met her as well. And I know you know who we're talking about, and I will omit saying names.
Yeah, no, we don't need to give up the Twitter handles of people that annoy us.
But it was it was really interesting because now I'm actually seeing more than just talking to one guy that's trying to scam me. Yeah, and now I'm
Right.
actually talking to real people
Mhm.
and starting to meet people. And the one nice thing about spaces is, like we brought up, like you said, it's like going to a bar and sitting down, and just randomly talking to strangers. It was nice because you can text back and forth through like tweets and replies and whatnot, but it's not the
Right.
same thing as actually speaking with somebody.
Yeah,
So,
and hearing someone's voice.
right. You can't
So,
always like
yeah,
read inflections, but you can hear them. So that's another
right.
nice thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it adds a lot of context, right? So,
Right.
like, so Robert, what was it for you, since that's how you met Jared?
I accidentally stumbled upon the spaces, and after a week or so of taking part, I decided, I'm going to try hosting too. And I hosted a room. It was for insomniacs. I
Right,
used,
right.
used to
That
call
was it.
yeah, I used to call my spaces rooms insomnomaniacs.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
cute. I like
anyway,
it.
and it was just a genial, general conversation. There were, I don't know, 8 or 10 people in there. It was all right. Nice small group. And there were a couple of women in there that were espousing similar political beliefs to me. And one guy who was obviously very conservative started arguing with them. Jermey
Mm.
had come in at some point, and I'd let him speak. But this conservative guy began to argue with the women and started calling them bitches.
Oh
And
no.
me and Jermey jumped on that guy like we were the lions and he was the jackal.
Oh, God bless y'all.
We absolutely just destroyed that game, kicked him out of the room. And then I was like, I like you, dude. You're a lot of fun.
Oh, and
Yeah,
I will do it
man.
again. I will
Oh,
do it
yeah.
again.
Oh,
Right.
I will always protect the people in my spaces.
Yeah,
But
man. Oh,
I mean,
that's great.
we ended up talking till like 6 in the morning that night, and
Oh, that's nice.
we just, and he kept telling me about this woman on Twitter that he talked to on Spaces, and how your banter you thought would be good for a podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, right. And then not long after that, I meet Gladys and I listen to her, and I listened to the two of them, and I'm like, oh my God, he's right. The two of y'all were perfect together. It was so much fun listening to you. I was like, that podcast idea is not bad. And then we became friends, and here we are today.
And here we are, because I remember when at one point after the oh yeah, and so quick show note there is that yes, on Twitter I am Gladys, and that is in honor of my grandmother. Um, but yeah, the middle name's still the same on Twitter. But I remember one night after talking with you and Jeremy, and I asked you, Robert, I was like, hey, do you want to be involved in this? Because when I found out that you were a retired journalist,
Mhm.
and I had so much fun talking to you, and I was like, I'm going to be quite honest, I might need some editing help.
Yeah,
And you were like, yeah, okay.
yeah. Happy to do it.
And
Happy.
this is why it's great. So these are the cool things about Twitter and Spaces, and sure, there's plenty of yeah, there's been plenty of times when we've had to be the bouncers and kick people out of our spaces because they just decide to come in and be rude or obnoxious for some reason. But that being said, now that we have talked about the nicer sides of Twitter, let's just get into the shit, because they're okay, guys. I mean, we have to talk about Elon. There's no way.
You mean how it got musky in Twitter?
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Perfect. Yeah, because like there's no way that we can't bring this up, being that we all use this platform a lot, and hence being our conversation. And yeah, what happened? I mean, do we think it was just his hubris or what? Like, how did he think he could just walk in and just strip down Twitter and I don't know, somehow have it to manage to still work properly?
He still has not offered us the edit option that he promised that he would if he took over. Still waiting for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. What were the other ones? Oh, he was gonna cut down on all the bots.
I
Okay.
think they're worse.
They're way
honestly.
worse. They're so way worse.
Oh, he was so proud of himself too for getting rid of them, and no, I think he just created more.
No, there's way more now. There's way more. I've definitely noticed this. I mean, oh my God, Robert, you at one point you had brought up something about you called them the BIM bots, which I thought was hilarious.
That came from another friend actually, but yeah.
Yeah.
The women, they all seem to come from Hong Kong. They're all into crypto, and they slide into your DMs and immediately go, "Hi, handsome, how are you?" You don't even know me.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And how many times have you gone to their profile picture and studied it to realize that it's actually one of those life dolls and not a real person?
Oh yeah, almost every time.
Right?
And usually they just joined that week.
Right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they've never tweeted.
Yeah, no.
Or they just retweeted somebody else's stuff.
To make it
Oh my
look like
God,
there's
yeah.
activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I have the ones that my husband gave me a great name for, the twat bots, because they're just assholes. They really are. And I love that word. I was just like, twat bots. That's hilarious. Because
great.
no, it is, because these are the bots that end up like, they go into, one of the like those nice boost posts where people come together and like everybody follows each other and blah blah blah. It's like, we're all on the blue crew, yay, let's go. And then someone who is not on that list, who doesn't follow anybody, will just randomly drop like a hardcore porn video right in the middle of a time, or like a thread that is all about puppies and kittens, like for no reason. And of course it gets blocked, but if you wake up later in the day and you haven't seen it yet, you're scrolling through and being like, oh, all my friends are sharing pictures of their, oh God damn it. Block.
That's not the kind of pussy I was trying to look at.
No, exactly. Jesus. Like, why are you putting that in the middle of the sweetest, like, and that's just it. Again, I always look because I'm curious, but right, because of course this is an instant block, but I'm like, just what the fuck? And it's like brand new account, there's like no followers, there's no tweets, they just go, and I'm like, what are you trying to achieve? Like
Oh, I imagine these are the same people that find it funny to hack like PlayStation and Xbox accounts.
Oh yeah, for
like
no reason.
Systems. Yeah, during Christmas, just to ruin a bunch of children's day. Like, yeah, I got an Xbox, and they can't use it because some jerk thinks it's funny to crash the network.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly.
I just don't understand that mentality of why you would want to cause harm to people and find it funny. I don't find,
because they don't, I mean, what did they get out of it? Just the satisfaction of knowing that they fucked up somebody's morning? Is that what it is?
Like, who hurt you? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Well, what about the guys that send dick pics to women unsolicited?
Oh God.
Has that ever happened to you, Drea?
Oh God, yeah. God damn it.
It's happened to me also.
Yeah. To be fair, yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry about that. I really apologize, Jeremy. I didn't mean to send that to you.
Wrong target, right? Wrong target. Whoops.
Oh my God. No, but that's like one of those things. That's where it's like, that's where I say, like, for Twitter, that's where I'm like, twit please, because and it's just something I think is gonna, I don't know, I think I'm gonna start using it as a running joke, because twit please is like, yeah, the weird random, porn drop in the middle of puppies and kittens threads, or like, the unsolicited porn DMs, or whatever. Like at one point, a person apparently created a profile just to troll me. It's definitely someone who was familiar with me and a couple of our other friends. And at first, honestly, I was pretty pissed, but then I was like kind of flattered, because I was like, you took the time to create a new profile just to fucking troll me. Oh,
Right?
Good point.
So
Yeah.
listeners,
you
remember,
have 2 followers and I have over 10K, so you're blocked. Bye.
remember, listeners, hashtag twit please.
Hashtag twit please, listeners. Yes. Thank you, Jared. Perfect. Oh, and speaking on that topic, Robert, we need to bring this one up, because for y'all, Robert and I had a conversation a few weeks ago where we were talking about all types of, poll numbers and things. And this goes from everything to Facebook to Twitter to actual like political polls or whatever. But Robert, what did we say when we were talking about polls and their accuracy?
Basically, we were saying, fuck your poll. Nobody asked me.
That's right. That's right. Because nobody asked us.
I've never been asked anything in a poll. I see all the numbers, but no one's ever contacted me. So fuck you and your fucking poll.
Yeah, exactly. And we had a lovely conversation about it.
Fuck your poll.
Hashtag fuck your poll.
I think they must have a dartboard and they just spin it and throw darts at it and say, okay, yeah, 20% think this. Yeah, fuck you and fuck your poll.
Well, and that's that's what I wanted to tie into the twit please, because when Elon did the poll about whether or not he should tying into our Twitter theme for fuck your poll, because you guys will definitely hear more fuck your poll opinions from all of us. But in this specific instance, when Elon did that poll on Twitter, and
what
like
he was saying,
nobody saw it, and it's like there's like billions of people on Twitter, and like I don't even know how many votes there were. It was so silly.
He said if the poll numbers say I should step down as CEO, I will step down as CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Poll numbers showed him, and so he changed the rules. Oh, it doesn't count unless you pay us $11 a month or $8 or whatever the hell it is now.
Right, yeah.
Get the blue check mark. Yep, doesn't count anymore. Well, fuck you. And I know that could be offensive to some people, and Elon could ban me like that. I don't care. I've been banned before. Fuck
right. Well, I highly doubt he's going to listen to this, so I think
I think he would have lost interest a long time
ago. Yeah, the moment we said we're liberals. What?
That's what I was going
to say. Yeah, exactly. The moment we said we're liberal civil rights people, it would have been like, I'm out.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't think we would have even had to get to LGBTQ access. Nope.
No, not even. We wouldn't even have to get that far. Nope. Oh man, but that did kind of suck though, because like when he took over, like we were talking about like things we discussed before in some of our conversations about like, where did all my followers go, and what's up with the visibility, and why is there more MAGA on my feed? It doesn't make any sense.
That was the most interesting thing to me. Was basically with Twitter, you could sort of tailor the people that you followed and interacted with.
Yeah.
And
have you guys?
Noticed?
Have you guys noticed that up on the top now there's a new tab that says following?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been there a while.
Yeah, it's newer though, and
right.
And I do, that's what I have to do, because it kind of defaults to the for you, which I think is hilarious,
Right.
because I'm like, the for me is like not for me. Like,
Right.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
why am I seeing,
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
and Jim Jordan, and yeah, exactly. Like, why am I seeing these people's shit?
Nick Adams.
Oh God, ugh, exactly. So yeah, I'm just like so suited from like always now. I just turn on the like the people I'm actually following, because some of them will retweet some of that shit, but it's only to take a piss at it, you know. So like they do retweet it, it's with a hilarious comment. I'm like, okay, that I can handle, but yeah, I'm like, what's up with that for you shit? I'm like, none of
I
this is
know.
for me. Have you seen? I'm like,
No, ever
oh,
since
new
Elon has
liberal
taken
Democrat Twitter, like,
no, ever since Elon has taken over, the algorithm has been on a steady drunken diet. It just it's the only way it can survive right now with dealing. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
No, I think you're right about that. I do. I think you are.
Barbiturates, perhaps. I don't know. It's medicating,
The algorithm is self-medicating because it can't deal
Self-medicating.
with what's going on.
right?
And I saw a post the other day from Elon Musk saying, well, if you are critical of tweets that you don't like, you'll just be getting more of them because the algorithm just sees you interacting with those people. And I went, okay.
Right, yeah.
No.
Yeah, and that's why, and that's why I'm like, we need to start some kind of campaign on Twitter where we encourage all of our people to be like, do not retweet these idiots.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Right.
Because even if you're making a funny comment or you're like whatever, you're feeding into the algorithm that gives them more attention.
Yep.
So don't do it. Just don't do it. Resist the urge. And if you want to say something about it, yeah, either do a screenshot or just make your own tweet and put it in quotes.
That's a good idea.
And then respond to it, but do not actually retweet or respond to their tweets, because it only gives them more visibility on the algorithms. So, it's like, I mean, they talked about this with Facebook, the hate button, because there were so many hate buttons going on Facebook, like during the lead up to the 2020 election. There's so many hate buttons getting pressed that they're like, yeah, it's actually feeding into the algorithm. And this is what Facebook was accused of, is that it's feeding into the algorithm because there was so much interaction with it, even though it wasn't a positive interaction, it was still getting interaction. So,
unwanted attention.
Right. And any attention is attention, period, regardless of what it may be.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Whether it's good or bad. So, yeah.
And some people want that. But like the poll, may I just say, hey, Elon, fuck your algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
But I'm pretty sure that he's pushing things, because ever since he stepped in, I have seen so much more Republican stuff than I ever did before.
Me too. That's what I was saying. Same like here. I had just mentioned, like, why is there more MAGA on my feed? Like, it's kind of
right.
It's true, and I'm seeing so much more of it.
I don't think that's really the algorithm's fault either, because it seemed like magically one day after he took over, all of a sudden, boom. I don't know if he rewrote something in the algorithm or how he did it, but the moment he stepped in, they stepped up.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Well, that's true too. And it could just be, again, it's one of those situations where, they might be the minority, but they are loud.
They are
very, very loud. So,
and I'll be honest, I'm kind of torn about it. I'm very much free speech advocate because of course. I did spend 30 years basically doing newspapers.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of do like seeing what people on the other side of the political aisle are thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But some of them are just so damn obnoxious.
Yeah.
It just
This is why I don't block them, because people have told me before, like, well, why don't you just block them? I'm like, because dipping your head in the sand doesn't make it go away.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
so I want to see what kind of things they're spewing out, and also I also like to go through their lists of people that like their comments or give them positive replies and block them. I go through
The
their
shit
list.
blocks.
I do. I
Yeah.
take my
There you go.
while I'm
Shit
taking my
block.
morning shit. While I'm taking my morning shit, I call it shit blocking. Hashtag shit block.
blocks.
Shit block.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yep. I go through and I block a ton of them just to make sure that they're gone. Because I mean, yeah, the biggest voices, I'll leave you there because I want to see what kind of things you're spewing. But average, like Joe, no, sorry, you're done, gone.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love that.
One of my issues with the conservative people is that they always say they would be willing to meet us halfway, but they all think they're already standing on the dividing line.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's a real problem for me. And
Yes.
Oh, my uncle.
Fake news stuff.
Oh my God, my uncle, he's the worst at this. Like just last night, he comes in attacking on my Facebook, and my friends are like, "Hey, dude, you might want to step down." He's like, "We're just having a conversation here." I'm like, "Dude, you come in attacking and then think that we're having a conversation. That's not how a conversation starts, man. That's how an argument starts. That's not a conversation." And he just wouldn't get it. He goes, "Oh, okay, because you guys with your liberals, we're supposed to listen to your views and your opinions." And I'm like, "Yeah, but where at any point did anyone ever ask you for your point of view or your opinion?"
Right.
I'm like, come on, man. This is not a conversation. This is an argument. That is not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like
amazing.
like Robert was saying.
Yeah.
But like Robert was
Yeah.
saying, they think that oh, I have every right to be heard. I have every right to speak. But you also have every right to the consequences that befall you for that same right. And they don't seem to get that.
Yes. Yes. That's a great way of putting it.
They don't seem to understand that. They think that they can just say whatever they want, and that's just because, you know, they have that right. Well, you do. We also have the right to tell you go fuck yourself, you piece of shit.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I actually ended up in a conservative spaces room the other night and got into a discussion with, it was a genial discussion. We actually got along pretty good. But I happened to mention something about something I read on CBS News. And the immediate reaction was, well, I don't believe anything on CBS News. And I said, well, okay, how about NBC? No, I don't believe it. And I name all these mainstreams, and they're like, no, we don't believe them. I said, well, who do you listen to? Newsmax?
Newsmax, Fox.
That thing's gone now. Fox, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no.
Weigh in.
No. Can we find a common ground? We could not find a common ground for a news source that we both agreed on.
It's impossible.
You know, it's bad when you can't even agree on NPR. I mean,
right? The most non-biased out
Really?
there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's bad if you can't.
I worked in the industry. I can recognize when somebody's trying to pull my dick and you know,
yeah, man,
piss on me and tell me. I know what's going on, but it agrees with their viewpoint of the world, and they love that. And I've always known that was a problem. I always worried about that when I worked for a newspaper, that if we could just tailor the news we wanted, we would never get the news we needed. It's kind of like not eating your vegetables. You know?
Yep.
You may not like them, but you need them.
Yeah. That's a really great way of putting that too.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and how a lot of people actually do get a lot of their news from social media because of what gets shared and what gets thrown around. But you know, it's like playing a game of telephone after a while. You know, it just gets distorted as it goes down the line. And what probably started as a very genuine article or news clip or whatever it was, by the time it gets tweeted and retweeted or shared 1,000 times on Facebook, the personal messages that go along with it actually change the message that was originally presented, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. It's almost like a lost in translation sort of thing, but yeah, you're right. It's more like the telephone game. You just, one person says it to the next person, they say that to the next person, and so forth and so forth, and by the end, it's completely jumbled and has lost all of its meaning.
And we see it all the time. I mean, it happens on Facebook, happens on Twitter. I mean, I don't know if that's as much of Instagram has its own issues, but I don't think that's one of them. But I mean, it even happens on YouTube, so it's I wish there was something we could do about it. But, I guess again, we come back to the fact that there are good people on these platforms like us, and we try to make sure we're doing the right thing when we share stuff and debunk things that are very obviously false.
Oh, I sometimes troll on Facebook though, just to fuck with my uncle. Like I shared this thing that supposedly was a shot from Green. It was from Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she was all saying how like COVID weeded out like the weak amongst their own party and this and that.
Oh my God, what?
And the great thing is that at the bottom of the screenshot, it says parody, like it straight up said parody there.
Right,
but I posted it all like, oh, this see you next Tuesday, and fucking people were like shocked and oh my God. I'm like, okay, anyone? I mean, I troll. You guys know this. Did anyone ever catch the fact that this said parody on it?
Yeah.
And one of my friends replied, it was like, I actually didn't, but it seemed so likely that she said this that I didn't even bat an eye. And I was like, oh my God, that's the sick truth right there.
That is true.
But it is true. It is true. The people who would not get vaccinated and died in some states, they actually accounted for the difference in the Trump-Biden election.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, because they were killing their own people by telling them not to go do the right thing and put on a mask. Or
Bill Gates is shooting nanobots into my body. No, go ahead, man. I don't give a shit.
Whatever. Right? Is it going to make my cell reception better? Like,
yeah. Can it help with my sciatica? I mean,
yeah, right. Does it have any health benefits other than keeping me from dying of COVID?
We've got to talk about some conspiracy theories in the future at some point.
Yeah, we will.
Absolutely.
We definitely will. We definitely will, because some of them are amazing and just so mind-blowingly great. And because we're all on Twitter, we will find plenty of them before we get to our next episode.
Oh, and one of the other things I would like to talk about too is being The Last of Us is like a new thing, that's a new show right now, but the game, it was so terrifying to me because the concept is plausible.
Yes, we will talk about that, especially when it gets a little further into that show. So, because we certainly don't want to ruin it for anybody, but we will. This podcast will definitely endorse watching that show. We are not sponsored by them.
No, but I would like to go into details too about the real life nature things where this really happens to insects, like the ants.
It's so cool. It's an amazing premise.
The ants will crawl to the top. The ants will crawl to the top of blades of grass when there's a warm mammal nearby waiting to get eaten. And if the mammal walks by, then they go back to behaving like normal. But then if another mammal comes by, they'll walk to the edge. They're trying to get eaten. It's scary.
Yeah. Yes. I know. Yeah, we are definitely gonna have to talk about that. So, with that being said, I think y'all
Sorry.
know that this is gonna be our our future episodes are definitely gonna be all over the place, is what I'm trying to say. We would encourage you to still stay on Twitter. Don't jump ship just because Elon's there. They're gonna take care of that pretty soon. But you can find us at Name of Pod on Twitter. And we will share our other links through there once we have them all up and running. So be prepared for a lot of coming episodes, including all kinds of different topics. Things like our favorite television shows, movies, music. But we're also going to, we'll dive into things like healthcare and LGBTQ issues and probably some politics from time to time as well. So, guys, I think we did it.
I think we did.
I hope so.
I think we got it. I think we got it.
It only took us 3 weeks, right?
I know, and I think this is our wrap up right here. I think we finally did it, and I think we got ourselves our very first episode. And for all of our friends that will be listening to this, we want to thank you for joining us on our journey into this podiverse of the interwebs, and we will see you again very soon.